very excited to have our next guest on. He has been on the show multiple times, said stuff that has sent shockwaves through the listeners, people questioning their own reality. We're very excited. He is from the Live Longer. We're very excited to have him on. Christian Yordanov, how are you, brother?
I am good, guys. Good to see you.
Live Longer Formula. We love you, and we're very excited to have you back on. Christian, for those who may not be familiar with your past appearances, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where our listeners can find you?
Yeah, so I am a health practitioner and longevity author, and I have a health optimization and longevity program at livelongerformula.com. We offer free masterclass, free initial health assessment. So anyone interested in taking care of their health can check that out. And yeah, my background is I started in my first health book was on autism. So I kind of, have a lot of experience in that area. But my true love is like health optimization, longevity, this kind of stuff. So that's kind of my main jam.
I love it, dude. We love you, and we're very thankful that we work with you, man. So listen, my goal right now is by New Year's Eve to have dropped down to 185.
What do you have now?
What do you know?
I'm thinking I'm 210.
When was the last time you were 185?
Probably 11th grade.
Yeah, I bet you look like.
No. I'll tell you when I was last 185. Was about 16, 17 years ago.
Because you're what, like 6'1", right?
I'm 6, barely. I'm starting to shrink.
That's pretty tall for 185.
Yeah.
At your age. Especially.
Well, I want to get down to that
Good
because
luck.
I'm getting
Godspeed.
murdered in jiu-jitsu right now. I can't move. So,
That's what it is. That's cool.
yeah. I mean, I'm just getting murked by everybody.
Bro, quick tip for the jiu-jitsu. Have you ever heard of a supplement called beta-alanine?
No, dude, send me
Bro,
that. I'll take it right now.
Yeah.
I'll snort
So yeah,
it.
that's like a common ingredient they put in pre-workouts. That's the one that gives you the tingly feeling all
Oh,
over
I
your
love
skin.
it. Let me.
The itchy anus, as plays more dates.
I love
calls it.
itchy anus. Anybody else love the itchy anus? It makes you feel
So-
alive.
That is a perfect supplement for jiu-jitsu because you're grappling for long periods of time. So that is a good supplement to kind of just increase endurance of muscle sort of contractions. So if you get that, start taking it like 4 or 5 grams a day over like a week or two, you will absolutely crush compared to, relatively speaking, to your previous performance. Guarantee you, bro.
Send me a
Guarantee
link,
you.
dude. Send me a link.
Will do.
Email me a link. I'll buy it right now. Dana will love that. I'm taking yet another thing.
What
What is this? What are you taking? My God. I'm like, dude, just let me live my life.
I got the butt tingles here.
I
Leave me
need,
alone.
the,
my wife.
I need the itchy anus, dude. I need that now. That's how I know I'm alive. So you've been on the show before. You've said stuff that I had people who are friends of mine go, dude, what? I got to look into it. Oh, no. So people who, you talked a lot about the fasting before and all that stuff, and that was controversial to some of the listeners. But now you got something else you want to talk about, and that is the serotonin scam. So why don't we get into it? Where do you want to start?
Yeah, and by the way, interesting that you mentioned the fasting because this discussion at some point we can segue into the whole fasting thing because as you will see, fasting raises serotonin, and that is actually what researchers with like lab rats and stuff, when they're trying to model depression in a rat, one of the ways in which they make a rat depressed is they starve it, right? That's a model of depression in animals. And what that does, they've known, is that raises serotonin, and that kind of already hints at, is this like the happiness chemical as it's been marketed at us as, or is it actually a stress chemical? And just a quick aside, I'm not like the expert on this topic. I have a great interest in it over the last couple of years because my my mother, when I was like a teenager, my mother was on antidepressants. It was horrible. Like it was a horrible sort of thing she went through, and for the whole family, it was like pretty hell on earth type stuff. So I know, like, with the maybe, I don't know, 25 million Americans being on SSRIs this year
what a topic
alone,
right now too
that
to talk
a
about.
lot of people are affected. So that's why I want to spread the information.
I have a lot of people close to me there that are taking SSRIs. I get very nervous for them because there seems to be a programmability going on with that as well. We've had people in the past talk about how they can send basically radio waves into you through metals and stuff like that. And it just seems like there's a lot of connections between these SSRIs and these school shootings. A lot of these kids are on this drug. And I just feel like it's a masking. One of my friends, Brody Stevens, rest in peace, brother, no longer with us, took his own life. He was on meds like that, and he was changing meds, and in that change time, he basically he was mentally unstable, we'll say, and he offed himself.
Because it's all trial and error, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean they have you
doctors,
running back and forth between different drugs depending on how you feel at that time, and it mentally messes with people, and it's just really hard. I have a good friend of mine who's on it, and he's a really like kick-ass dude, and when he told me he was on, I was very shocked because he is a pretty stable guy, and I'm just kind of like, why are you on that? I mean, I don't know him all the time and how he feels when he's alone, but I get very nervous when I hear people are on that. Again, it makes me very nervous
So
for them.
you like when you hear serotonin, I'm sure like all of you guys and almost everybody you would think that's kind of the thing you've heard about it. That's the happiness chemical, right?
Isn't it something that a lot of people want to give kids to help them sleep as well?
Well, I know that when I looked at
Melatonin, sorry.
Melatonin.
Okay.
yeah, but here's the thing, and we were discussing this the last time. But serotonin can be converted to melatonin, right? So they are related. But just XG, if you wanna like share the screen and just show, I have some screenshots of like studies and various things. But if you look at Wikipedia, dude, if you look up serotonin on Wikipedia, you're gonna see this serotonin is a common. You can just scroll down to Wikipedia and then a little bit down. So you can see serotonin is a common component of venoms of various
here
like
we
mollusks, insects, scorpions, worms, and jellyfish.
Oh
Serotonin
my
is
God.
yeah. Serotonin is one compound of the poison contained in stinging nettles.
Oh
and then
my God.
the gastrointestinal parasite Entamoeba histolytica secretes serotonin, causing a sustained secretory diarrhea, aka explosive diarrhea, in some people, right? And then if you scroll down a bit further, next page, and then the next page. This is from Wikipedia. Yeah, stop there. This is from Wikipedia. Despite its long-standing prominence in pharmaceutical advertising, the claim that low serotonin levels cause depression is not supported by scientific evidence. So even Wikipedia, you will see this is blanketly admitted in the mainstream. It's not a low serotonin problem, depression, right? Yet they use it for everything from depression to like mania to like bulimia, like eating disorders. Dude, apparently some doctors prescribe it for premature ejaculation. I had one client, he was he had like premature ejaculation, so he told me he would take an SSRI, he could go for an hour. So like but the when you kind of understand what serotonin is, it's basically a stress chemical. So when you're stressed, its role is, because when you're stressed, you have like a certain amount of energy in the body. So you have to like ration it to certain processes in the body, right? So what serotonin does is it shuts down certain parts of the body. So it has this effect where it helps you survive the stress, and it also has this additional effect of numbing you to the pain. So if you can imagine just like an experiment in MK Ultra, they're torturing people, and they're finding that raises their serotonin level. What serotonin does is it basically helps you disassociate from the pain and the suffering.
Oh
so
my God.
and that's the most extreme case, right? And we know that MK Ultra, they did a bunch of research with LSD and things like that. So this kind of getting ahead of myself here, but they found around the time when they discovered serotonin was like the late 40s, early 50s. They kind of started understanding its biological roles. So then, in that time, in the 50s and the 60s, they were doing all these like, you know, covert experiments with like LSD and things like that. And then we know they did the army experiments, dude. So what they found is when you give a soldier LSD, they're extremely difficult to control. So that was a huge problem for them. They're very difficult to like line up and follow instructions. Then near that time they realized if you have a guy tripping on acid and you inject him with serotonin, it basically acts like a trip killer. So they kind of framed LSD in the public eye that this is the thing that will make you crazy, and then they started to kind of position serotonin as the normalcy sort of hormone. But they realized, bro, that serotonin actually, if you elevate it in a person, they're much easier to control. Does that make sense?
Yes, that is, and everything's about control. Dark arts, dude. Dark arts, and it's so funny that your buddy goes, your client goes an hour. Women are very interesting when it comes to sex. Like the whole running thing is like you finish too quickly, they get upset. But if you go too long, they get upset too.
An hour's a long time.
An hour is a long time of
So
activity.
you put your back out in an hour. You put your back
You
out,
need
bro.
a nap, dude.
You need a
nap
chiropractor.
after that, and then they want to go again. You're like, dude, I'm 52. Let me nap. I need to sleep.
But check this out, bro. So lower down that document, I have a couple of studies, and I'll just quickly kind of go over them. But there's one paper. It's called "Serotonin Kills Libido" is the section XG. But basically, this paper is titled "Pharmacology of Serotonin and Female Sexual Behavior." Okay, so this is published in 2014, but you can see there. I have a quote from the paper. They say that a contribution of serotonin to the modulation of female sexual behavior
Hold on.
has been
This is not
appreciated.
it.
Yeah,
Is it down?
Serotonin kills libido on the left.
Oh, okay. Look it up.
Y-
There
yeah,
it is.
it-
There it is. Whoa.
Yeah. So basically, they just to kind of for the folks not watching, a contribution of serotonin to the modulation of female sexual behavior has been appreciated since the early 1960s, when a variety of compounds with effects on the serotonin system were found to reduce female rodent sexual receptivity. So just to kind of plain English, and they kind of say it in the rest of the study. I have like down below this, I have some quotes from the paper, but they say the bulk of evidence supported the hypothesis that compounds that increased serotonin reduced female sexual behavior, and compounds that decreased serotonin facilitated sexual behavior. And below that, they state most antidepressants can produce sexual dysfunction in human females, but SSRIs are associated with the highest incidence. So talking about depopulation and just kind of that whole spiel, imagine you give, what is it like? It's the majority of people on SSRIs are women, right? So tens of millions. We're talking about 30 to 40 million on people on antidepressants,
Oh my
and maybe
God.
63% of that or so is SSRIs. So we're talking about tens of millions of Americans, a lot of them women. You give them this stuff, especially a lot of them like 30, 40 years of age, right? And they want to have less sex with the dudes, right? And then the study below that,
Wow.
they are saying and this is, by the way, this is super out there. It's not like we're not these are like for example, the one below this study, if you just scroll down one page, the paper below it is Journal of Clinical Psychopharmacology, and it's called Treatment Emergent Sexual Dysfunction Related to Antidepressants. So this is well known that even on Wikipedia, if you scroll down one more, if you see for Prozac's page, fluoxetine on Wikipedia, under the heading sexual dysfunction, they state more recent studies in which the investigator actively inquires about sexual problems suggest that the incidence is 70%. That means 70% of people that take SSRIs reported sexual dysfunction.
Is this
Right.
forever, or is this like if they
While
get
you're
off the
on the
pill?
drug.
Yeah, if they get off the pill, does this go away, or do they just?
So apparently it can take a very long time to resolve on its own. If you're like if you, let's say, get like a very open-minded doctor, they actually give you some kind of opposite end of the spectrum. So serotonin and dopamine are antagonistic. They're like a seesaw. If one is high, the other one is low. So if you go in there with a person like that and give them something that boosts dopamine and excretes the serotonin, and just kind of gets that balance in place, they can recover faster. But I've heard that some of these drugs that are specifically target like dopamine in terms like lowering or antagonizing or like messing with the receptors, some of that dysfunction people get is like permanent almost, so very, very nefarious, dude. But check this out, dude. The craziest part is that just in the example of Prozac, what it does is we know it increases serotonin, but some of its effects are to block some of the serotonin receptors. So when you take it, let's say day one, week one, whatever, when it's blocking serotonin's effects in your body, you feel relief. So you're like, oh my God, this thing actually works, right? But then long term, it's raising your serotonin, and we can discuss later, but serotonin actually drives scarring of your tissues, of your organs, called fibrosis, which is a precursor stage to cancer,
Oh my
right?
God.
So you might
dude.
get relief in the immediate term or maybe near term, but long term, you're actually, what they're doing is, and this is my opinion here, but what they're doing is, it's very difficult if you take a antidepressant like this for 5, 7, 10 years, which they want you to, they tell you have to taper it very slowly, blah blah. But if you do that, imagine all these fibrotic processes going on, scarring of your organs, that later turns into cancer or some kind of fibrotic disease, of
Oh
which there's
my
like tons.
God, dude.
Very
Listen.
difficult to pinpoint that. A lot of plausible deniability there for those companies, isn't it?
And do you have to taper off? Is it really bad if you just
Long time.
all of a sudden
say,
want to
yeah.
stop taking this SRI? Is it dangerous?
You gotta 100%,
Oh,
dude.
Oh shit! So it's kind of like
You're damned if you do, you're damned if you
It
don't.
took my mother like years to she weaned herself off of
You
them.
got to
but it took
wean
her
off.
years.
It's a very dangerous game to play. And this kind of gets into what we talk about all the time on the show, which is depopulation, dark arts, black magic to lower the population. And one of my algorithms is basically watching cops have to show up to domestic violence calls, and in particular when girlfriends go crazy on guys. And studies have shown over and over and over and over and over again that progressive women are the most medicated demographic on the planet, in particular in the United States. They're completely medicated. So now we got them on birth control, and now we got them on SSRIs. Imagine what's happening to their psyche, dude.
cat ladies. That's what that's kind. I mean, that's
Well,
what I feel like there's more of that.
it's like this vicious circle where it's like they don't want to get pregnant because they want to live their life, they want to have fun, they want to do all this, and then at some point they don't have kids, they start getting really sad, so then they start doing SSRIs, which makes it really hard for them to want to have sex, and then it is a vicious.
And this is not just used for depression. They use this shit off label for all kinds of other things. They just throw it at people.
It's
it's
really
unfortunate.
dark arts, dude.
And but by the way, you can go back one heading up. Serotonin enhances learning from punishment. Just talking about dark arts and stuff, man. Like there's some like more. A lot of this is animal research, but this was a human study where they gave them like a single dose of a dose of an SSRI, or they gave it to them over a week, and then they had to play like a game where they kind of through that game, it's like almost like a card game, like a gambling game. It showed that serotonin boosts or enhances learning from punishment and reduces learning from reward. And kind of when you think about the
Holy
news cycle,
shit.
all of these like calamities, COVID, all of these like things, a lot of like, and how the government treats you, you know what I mean, your relationship with the government, you're kind of thinking they definitely want to do things that raise our serotonin, because then we would be more malleable
Yep.
through their other sort of ancillary practices, right?
Oh my
So there was
God.
but this is pretty insane. There was another paper. It's somewhere there down below, but basically they were showing that crabs exposed to small amounts of like water that has like sewage runoff and it has SSRIs, they like get super aggressive with each other. Also, that they would like go and forage during times when they normally wouldn't because there would be predators around. So if they get the SSRI, they basically turns them into retards, in a sense.
Oh
Wow.
my God,
They
dude.
just go out forage while the predators are abound.
They
Pretty
get
insane stuff,
dangerous.
dude.
They get reckless. Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Just think about like, well, I mean, let's just take a look at Minnesota or any of these school shootings. Like there's a real debate, like how many of them are just patsies that are being blamed for it.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, talk about wanting to live dangerous, and you're on this stuff, and it makes you take chances like your normal drive wouldn't want you to. Your own
Yeah, it's also
sensibility.
you can correlate this to the rise of SSRIs, these school shootings, because it's not like in the 1800s when everybody was packing that kids were going into the schoolhouse blowing people away. It just wasn't happening back then because and nobody was getting SSRIs back then. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Dude, it is. This is absolutely insanity. Holy shit.
I mean, do these drugs work for anybody? Is there like 10 people out of like the 100 that are like, yo, this is great? Like my life got 10 times better. Is there that one claim of person that can be like, yo, this is amazing. It's a life changer.
Well, that is that is a good question. Like, so if you
Wow,
if you go back to it's near the top, serotonin is elevated, so just under the Wikipedia entry. So there's a paper there called "Is Serotonin an Upper or Downer?" And it's a very very long and detailed paper. But these guys basically dismantle the whole hypothesis that serotonin is low in depression. In fact, they show that it is high in several types of depression, and they show like this. These are the guys that later on we can discuss how the researchers give the animals depression through various stressors. But they talk about the reason for a lot of people there's a therapeutic delay between starting the antidepressant and getting the effect, maybe like 4, 6 weeks, 8 weeks down the line, is not because of the therapeutic sort of role of the drug. It's because of the body's own compensatory sort of system. So it's like down regulates its own production of serotonin, and then various receptors for serotonin to like start down regulating them. Because when you have a lot of something in the body, let's say serotonin, the body knows that, so it will try to either lower production, one thing, or become more resistant to it. So maybe to have less receptors, or certain places it will start down regulating, basically like eating them up and turning them to other proteins and stuff in the cell. So they're saying that it's the therapeutic effect is probably from that compensatory sort of adaptive thing the body does, nothing to do with the actual fucking poison, which, by the way, Prozac is 18 to 19%. That is fluorine, which is like the gas fluorine, which you've heard of. Everybody has obviously listening here has heard of fluoride, and we know that's neurotoxic and bad, but that's the salt form of fluorine. And Prozac is like, by molecular weight, like 18-90% fluorine, from my kind of look, from where I looked into it. Why of all things does it have to be fluorine? So just to answer your question in a different way there, XG, some of these drugs, remember I said earlier, some of them actually, they raise serotonin in the longer term, but they block some of the serotonin receptors. So the action of serotonin in the body can be like blunted. Although the problem is long term, you're getting more of the serotonin, which is causing you more problems. So some of the effects that people get relief from is those anti-serotonin receptor effects. And then I've also seen that some of these drugs, like I think Prozac is the one, it can raise certain other neurosteroids in the brain, in the nervous system, that are actually like anxiolytic. They kind of lower anxiety. So there's other like effects that are not the main effect, that are like side effects or ancillary effects that could be giving you the benefit. But the actual main effect, dude, like as you see in this article here, they're like, it's not even low in depression. Serotonin is high in many phenotypes of depression. That's how crazy, like, good pharma are at marketing without giving two damns, because they own the FDA, they own the government,
Yep.
they're all in this,
and this is just like when I hear the guy I love with all my heart, Brian Callen, talk about, you know, all of the positive things that the big pharmaceuticals has done. It's just, I cringe at it, dude. I'm like, dude, you got
No, but he's pulling your leg, bro. He's
no. He
pulling your leg.
believes it, dude. It like, I'll tell you that about Brian
He's
Callen.
just acting really well, dude. Like for years and years, he's really good at acting.
Well, he is a great actor, but he is genuine in his beliefs. He is just from a different time, dude. And there's so much data coming out now that that belief is. I'm sure we could find instances of where where pharmaceutical companies have done something that has helped people. I'm sure we could find it. If we went through the garbage bin, the dumpster of life, when we just kept going through it, we could find some. Go look at this. It actually helped. Okay, fine, but you're just totally omitting all the garbage that's surrounded by that diamond in the rough you found. Right?
Sam, sorry to interrupt, but you know what? This is gonna blow your mind.
I'm already
But
blown. It's completely shattered.
One of those places where pharma actually have done good stuff, believe it or not, is actually chemicals that block serotonin, bro. Now, didn't include this because it would be too long-winded. But if you go on Wikipedia and you look for serotonin antagonists, let me just do this very quickly. Serotonin antagonists. You're gonna see there's a few different ones, but basically these are chemicals that block serotonin's effects, either all of the receptors or some of the receptors, right? And there's one called cyproheptadine, which is an antihistamine as well. It's like from the 60s. It's one of the oldest antihistamines. And the problem with that one, why it's not in wide use allegedly, is because it makes people drowsy. So in the States, you can't get that. Even your doctor can't get that for you.
Oh, they blocked that.
But yeah, of course, the one, and this, by the way, there was a case study paper on PubMed published where a woman in her like 60s or something, she had liver cancer, dude, hepatocellular carcinoma with it had spread to the bones, so with a bone metastasis. They gave her this serotonin and histamine blocker for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, they gave her just that 3 times a day, 4 milligrams. I think that was it. The cancer went away completely. They couldn't find the cancer in the bones. They couldn't find it in the liver. And then 4 years or so later, I forget, like 38 months later or whatever, they did follow up and whatever. The cancer was still gone. And this is over the counter in certain countries. I think in the UK it's over the counter. In Australia you can get it from your pharmacist. In Spain, I get mine from Spain. I order direct from Spain. But so that's one. There was another one, I forget the name of it, man. But this one, they took it off the market due to safety concerns. And guess what? It's being researched for as we speak. Freaking brain cancer. Like
what is the drug?
Neuroglioblastoma.
Oh man, send me that.
Something like
send me that link too. I'll go order that right
another
now.
supplement.
Wait, that's the disease, right?
The which? Sorry,
The blastoma is the disease, right?
neuroglioblastoma. I think pretty sure
What
that's.
is the
I forget
drug though?
the
What's the drug called?
oh the drug. That's what I'm trying to find out. It was either, it was one of the so that if you're ever like interested, if you go to Wikipedia and type in serotonin antagonist, all of them will come up. So it was either, so one of them. Hold on. So it's either on Dancentron or, geez, there's so many of them.
Maybe that's for nausea, right?
Maybe Ritanserin. Anyway, but a lot of these, dude. Like if you look at cyproheptadine, by the way. So this is, I mean, it's a histamine blocker, so you can use it like for doctors use it for like if you have psychogenic itch, like if you have itching in your skin, they give you that. People with depression have kind of self-medicated away their depression away with a serotonin blocker. People use it for like insomnia. So like it's pretty insane, and that's what just kind of the topic was like how little have pharma done for us, and the crazy part is that one of their best-selling drugs the SSRI, increasing serotonin, drugs that have the opposite effect of blocking its effects are actually things that are useful for humanity.
It's
You know?
so crazy to me, dude. It is so crazy to me that
Yeah.
they block that stuff. Like they just want us dumb, unhealthy, and dead. Right? So you're like, oh, here's a good thing they do. Oh, by the way, you can't get in the United States. It's not allowed. Think about that, dude. Think about how our health care industry is actively working against healthcare.
The crazy
And
part.
I'll tell you another one, man. I have one of my clients. He's actually a doctor, and his wife had a stroke last month. So we did like a quick one to one for me to give him some tips, with stroke recovery. Obviously, I wasn't giving him medical advice. I was just sharing information, one practitioner to another. But anyway, so I gave him like a couple of supplements that are over the counter that are really good for I personally use them for as nootropics, like for studying and presenting. um and here in Europe, like another client here that I have, her daughter had a stroke after a COVID vaccine, and her doctors here actually put her on that supplement. This guy in the US, the doctor, hadn't even heard of this supplement, CDP choline. And then so there was another one, alpha GPC, that's really good for the brain, for like it's good for like brain injury, but also just general brain health and aging support. Didn't Hadn't heard of that. But then I told him about another one which in Europe is like standard of care in some countries. Like if you have a stroke, your doctor will put you on that. It's called piracetam. And the thing about piracetam, dude, it's not even like FDA registered type thing. So you can actually, in the US, you can buy it as a research chemical, as a powder. But like, and it's like legal and everything. But like these scumbags, one of the best thing, my grandma was on this when she had like multiple strokes. She was on this. That was the only thing that allowed her to actually string a sentence together. So these scumbags, dude, something effective that's actually used in European countries, and I think Japan as well, etc. It's not even allowed. The doctors, most doctors haven't even heard of it. I was at an Acapulco in February, dude. I was talking to Dr. Bob there, real cool guy, and his son, Dr. Bob as well. He's like a medical doctor, like 70 freaking 5 years old, decades of experience. Hadn't even heard of piracetam, dude. And it's like the best, one of the best nootropics, dude. Especially good for verbal fluency, Sam. Obviously, I can't recommend it because it's a research chemical in the USA. It's a drug in the rest of the world. I can't recommend it, but it's such a good nootropic and just so messed up that if you want it, you have to like go to these like sketchy nootropics chemical vendors to get your own supply.
It is so
Can I ask you, Christian? Does the
insane.
EU handle these things better than America? Because you mentioned a lot of these things not being available here, but it sounds like possibly they
Yeah.
are available abroad.
I
How
I think
does the America compare to other countries with respect
well,
to this?
well so okay, so they have both have pluses and minuses, but they're equally like terrible. Here there's just in general, the population here, at least in the state, most of my clients are in the States, so I know what the level of literacy is in terms of understanding functional medicine, supplementation, the value and benefit. But here, a lot of like, especially folks in like 60 plus, they're like still, oh, my cholesterol, my doctor said my blood work is fine. These supplements are all a scam. So there's a huge lack of education. And yeah, dude, pharma is the same everywhere. It's pretty bad here as well.
It's
I
like
mean, we have some more laws around like titanium dioxide and various like food additives and artificial colors and stuff. But in the grander scheme of things, uh, you know, just pick your POS communist garbage dictator MF you want to kill. You
I
know,
wonder if we can get this in Mexico, all this stuff.
You can't. Yes, I saw piracetam in Mexico. They have ivermectin. Bought a stash of that. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like I don't know. Like in the States, people tell me how easy it is to get like ivermectin, or hydroxychloroquine. Here, dude, I have to like order mine from a guy that like ships it from India, and you're getting like this like weird looking package. The customs are asking weird questions. So there's a lot of, there's a lot of and piracetam. That's another one I hear. I think you can get it through your doctor. The problem, though, if you're getting a pharmaceutical, you're getting with your pill like six, seven different other like additives that you don't want, like maybe not in Europe, maybe not titanium dioxide, but silicon dioxide, a bunch of other garbage. So it's not good enough. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. I mean, absolutely mind blowing that they are actively working against us. Hey man, take this. Okay, for this, but then it causes all this.
Yeah.
Wow. And it's
So
so sad.
just to XG, if you want to go to scroll down to the bottom of that sheet, I just want to if you go to how to increase serotonin, I just want to go over very quickly. I don't want to like bore
I'm
y'all
not
to death
bored.
here.
I'm like blown away.
So how to increase serotonin is the heading, just kind of near the bottom there, second to last. Yeah. So researchers use various different ways to induce animal in depression in an animal, and all of those ways increase its serotonin. And the first there model you see is starvation. So very simply, they starve the poor animal, and what happens is after a while it's gonna get depressed, right? And its serotonin will go up. So anybody that tells you, fasting this, autophagy that, cellular cleanup, I mean, dude, researchers use this to make animals depressed. Like if you're fasting, I'm I'm just not telling you what to do, but I really wouldn't recommend it because we've been brainwashed, we've been socially engineered to think that we can starve ourselves to better health. And just a quick thing about the autophagy, just in case somebody out there, this guy's a moron, autophagy this. Autophagy literally means autophagus. So you're
What?
self-eating.
Faggots what?
Autophagus.
Okay, you're gonna have to beep that.
Autophagos. Yeah. So you're autophagging yourself. You're basically devour. Phagos means devour. So you're self-devouring. So autophagy caused by fasting is called bulk autophagy. It's indiscriminate. So you just break down everything. You're not breaking down just the bad stuff. You're breaking like everything. Like everything gets sacrificed for the greater good to keep you alive. Now, it's actually they've found that, for example, things like exercise, like certain like more even certain carbohydrates, certain healthier things, shall we say, less stressful things, can also increase autophagy, but that would be the more sort of selective autophagy, where certain organelles that are not functioning well in the cell might get broken down. You have various components there that can be, so things like carbohydrates and exercise can stimulate that kind of autophagy. So if you want autophagy, you don't have to actually starve yourself. So that's one model of giving an animal depression, and that raises serotonin. So that's another kind of thing. If like anything that raises serotonin, you have to know it's probably not good for you long term. Then infection and immune challenge. So if you inject an animal or a human, like they've done some of this research where they inject humans with bacterial endotoxin, it's called. That also is a way to increase serotonin, and this is a survival mechanism, because if you're like have an infection, it's okay for serotonin to increase because it will shut down some areas of the body that are gobbling up energy. It will help you survive the infection, so it's good. The problem is if you follow mainstream advice and you eat a lot of fiber and you have an overgrowth of the wrong kinds of inflammatory bacteria, you're actually feeding those bacteria, and that bacterial endotoxin can get into into your bloodstream and cause your immune system to just produce inflammation. So, but we know that also raises serotonin. So if you have a bacterial infection, if your gut is in bits, that will raise your serotonin. Because the other thing to remember there, I don't know if you know, maybe a lot of people know nowadays, something like 90% of your body serotonin is produced in the gut. So if you have a gut issue, that's another way you can actually raise your serotonin. And as we saw earlier, that it can basically cause depression, man. It can mess up your sleep. It can make you like not want to have sex with your partner. So really, like, getting the gut working well is super important. Not fasting is super important. Then you have other things. This is where it gets a little bit more tinfoil hat. So you have the
We're all about
inescapable
it.
shock model. You have the inescapable shock. So they shock the rats and they can't escape. And basically this also raises your serotonin, or the rat serotonin. And what this does is over time it creates learned helplessness. This is really something important to understand, because this is what your government is trying to do to you. They're trying to induce learned helplessness in you, because this is a state where you are just okay with just shit being terrible and getting worse, like, COVID, or being locked down, or we have to go back to
Yep.
lockdown again.
Yep.
All of that is there. This is from the playbook of, MK Ultra, dude, that they're doing at a mass scale. And so we know, if they do that for a long enough time, it will raise our serotonin. It will make us more malleable. Just a quick aside, there was a guy, Martin Seligman. He kind of sort of described this in the 60s. And basically, this dude would just have dogs shocked repeatedly, right? Real nice guy. Real nice
What a
guy.
scumbag.
He would have dogs shocked repeatedly, and they had nowhere to escape. And then after a while, even if, let's say, you open the door and they can escape, they would allow themselves to be shocked and not escape. And this is like, kind of, a lot of us are in a prison in this, matrix that we live in. We're in such a prison that if someone like awake comes and opens the door for us, we wouldn't even like step out.
This is exactly California.
100%.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
exactly California. They burnt down our town and nobody was mad. Except for Spencer Pratt.
Not only that,
Yeah.
and money went missing that no one can account for.
That is exactly what they're doing right now here. Just
Yeah. And
forming
it continues,
learned
dude.
helplessness.
If-
Holy
if you
shit.
If you scroll down to 4 and 5 XG, you see chronic social defeat is another one, dude. So when they take smaller subordinate animals and they're repeatedly defeated by larger dominant animals, that also raises serotonin. And basically, I mean, just chronic social defeat. Imagine
Wow.
like the corporate world, this whole sort of, like what the algorithms are boosting, like rich people, flaunting, and you're like this guy just like, grinding, and your car is shitty and your apartment is small, and these like rich ass guys. So there's the chronic social defeat is more subtle. They're using celebrities and stuff like that to get that in there. But then there's also the chronic mild stress. So basically, this is so sick, dude. Like I'm telling you, these researchers are coming back in the next life as like pawn scum, dude. Because what they do is
this is exactly everything going on. We've had a illegal war against Iraq, in which weapons of mass destruction weren't there. Nothing happened to those people. When you see George Bush throw out the first pitch, this picture we have right here, I don't even know if this is the exact one, but within the studio, you guys can't see it. It's on Johnny's desk. But basically, dude, when he went out and they cheered him, like after he lied and all these people came back as fucking, look at this, dude. He came out, and I don't even know when this happened. This might have happened around 2009-11.
No, that isn't. Yes, 9/11.
Okay. And then he came back recently again.
He's done it multiple times.
During the World Series. You remember when the Rangers won the World Series? Yeah. And he came out and he pitched because he used to own them. And the whole stadium in Dallas, Texas cheered him.
A guy who's got so many bodies on him, man. So many bodies on him.
And how we kind of like, oh man, it was his fault, man. He's a good guy, dog. He's just, he's just a dude trying to, I'd have a beer with that guy, man. It's that Dick Cheney dude. Either one.
You know what's interesting? Just on that point, I have a couple of clients that are like CEOs in like, pretty cutthroat sort of industries. And when we have this urine test we do from home, where we have a marker for like dopamine and like adrenaline breakdown, and there's also a breakdown product of serotonin. So when that's very elevated, that indicates there's a lot of serotonin turnover. What I noticed is like more kind of clients like that would have a pretty high that kind of marker for indicating high serotonin. So I found some kind of disparate research that basically they're talking about if you have like I think it was gorillas or some kind of monkeys, but the alpha male would have like double the serotonin level of like the other apes, and then what would happen is if they would remove the alpha, the ape that would kind of become the dominant one, his serotonin level would increase. So what's interesting is it seems like uh, if you're like in a position of power in a hierarchy, high serotonin will make you like authoritarian and kind of just really put your
Whoa.
boot on everybody. But if you're in a subordinate position, the high serotonin would just make you like a a soy boy beta cuck type phenotype, archetype, where you're like, oh yeah, govern me harder, daddy. So that's pretty. I'd say probably the people like at the top, maybe like not at the toppy top, but like all these politicians, the power hungry guys. I'd say a lot of these guys probably very high serotonin types, and then they're trying to get our serotonin high because, like, again, just going back to the LSD experiments, we kind of there's a lot to talk about there, but what they found is LSD, at least in small doses, actually blocks serotonin, right? So I don't know if you've ever taken a microdose of LSD, but dude, like even 10, 20 micrograms, you feel just absolutely amazing. So what at least seems like is happening is when you get even 20 micrograms in your bloodstream, and it starts to block some of these serotonin receptors, serotonin can't do its negative effects. This is probably why a lot of people kind of are gravitating to, like, psilocybin and microdosing and stuff like that. But what so this is kind of the whole sort of thing. They discovered that if you're blocking serotonin, kind of lost my train of thought here, but if you're blocking serotonin, serotonin can exert its bad effect. So all of these things, they had to be taken off the market. They have to really like scare the bejesus out of people. In the 60s and the 70s, the war on drugs. Like, imagine they did the whole war on drugs, and LSD was one of the most vilified of the compounds. It's the one that will make you, jump off the third floor, and it will make you peel your face like an orange. I remember when I
Hold
used,
on. Are you trying to tell me right now that LSD is actually not bad for you?
dude, they're studying it for like Alzheimer's disease.
What?
Yeah.
I know nothing. That's what I'm learning today. Everything I thought
And
is just
yeah,
absolutely.
Well,
yeah,
you said
dude.
you said in small doses. Now, in larger doses,
Ma-
does it make people like pliable so that they're more susceptible to influence? Because that's what
They,
we've seen from the CIA.
well, I think that's what they were trying to figure out, and in the end, I think they probably canned the whole thing is because they couldn't, like, like, it's very we it like some people, a small dose can have a very pronounced effect, and other people's a larger dose might have a very mild effect comparatively. So it's very variable, very unpredictable. So I definitely think in higher doses it will have more serotonergic effects, right? So it's in smaller doses, it seems to like block it attaches to the receptor without like activating it super hard, and then it blocks serotonin its effect. But let's say if you take like 10x the dose, it's gonna like bind with a higher affinity and then cause a lot of those kind of more like I don't know if y'all ever taken LSD, but in a very high dose, like you
Yeah.
can like puke. It's like you're trembling. It's pretty uncomfortable. So that's kind of the serotonergic aspect of it.
What would you say is the difference between that and like psilocybin?
I think they just have a different effect. From what I understand, they still are mostly interacting with a specific serotonin receptor. I think just because of the different structure, they will have a different effect in terms of the experience.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
but
Because
just one more thing, dude. If you go on Wikipedia and start like searching around for like mania, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, you're actually gonna see that a lot of it is, at least on the mainstream level, is dopamine is the bad guy. So if you hear dopamine, you hear a lot of folks now, they have a book or a course or a thing where you do a dopamine detox. So dopamine is like the addiction, sort of the degeneracy chemical,
yes.
and psychosis is caused by that. Allegedly, mania is caused by that. But when you kind of look deeper and you kind of see the fuckery here going on, it's actually serotonin driving a lot of these things like psychosis, mania. Obviously, we know depression and stuff, but schizophrenia as well, because some of these serotonin blockers can actually stop like schizophrenic episodes, like cyproheptadine, for example. So I think what we have to probably unbrainwash ourselves from, many of us at least, is the dopamine isn't the bad guy. In fact, the more you raise dopamine, within reason, probably the better you will feel. Like your libido will be better. Just a quick story. I had a client. He heard me on the macroaggressions podcast
Oh,
in,
yeah.
like December.
Charlie's
So I
episode
signed.
just went out.
Yeah. So I signed up this guy. He's a cop, real nice guy. Like he had adopted a couple of kids from like broken homes and stuff. Super sweet guy. But in January we signed him up, and his main complaints were depression. He couldn't sleep. He was getting sick a lot, and low energy. Right. So I was like, okay, doing the intake, and he told me he's taking this thing called 5-HTP, which you might know it's basically a precursor to serotonin. It's sold as a supplement.
Yeah.
So he was taking that for 10 years for his depression. Of course, didn't help. But I told him, dude, like you really have to stop this thing. Like, please throw the ball out and never
Is
think
that
about
bad?
Well, that was used.
Oh,
I mean, that used to be.
That's what he
I-
just said.
No. I know, but it's 5-HTP. I've also heard that you're supposed to take that like
Yes,
before or after doing like Molly and shit
That's right,
because it's
yeah.
supposed to help you.
I used to,
recover.
yeah,
Roll on,
I used to
roll
take it
off, all that
after
stuff.
after the party, thinking that it because you've depleted your serotonin, that's why you feel like garbage. So you want to replete the serotonin. Yeah, we used to do that. But here's the thing: you're definitely depleting neurotransmitters. A lot of like even like Adderall and stuff, they're gonna like cause like cocaine. I think they'll cause a surge of stuff to be released, dopamine and maybe serotonin, glutamate, a bunch of stuff. That's why there's such a intense effect. But what happened with this guy, we did that urine test. His serotonin marker was super elevated. Obviously, his dopamine was low. So all I did, well, I mean, we do a lot of different things, but the main thing I told him, here's some stuff to boost dopamine, amino acids, vitamins. Here's some stuff to break down serotonin, just to get these cycles, these metabolic pathways working. So what happened was, so we started working in January, dude. Like this blew my mind. In May, I hadn't seen him in a while. He wasn't showing up to the calls. So I did a quick call with him just to see if is he alive, how's he doing, whatever. So this guy, he looked different, but I thought nothing of it. Started doing the catch up, and then he's just said, okay, I'm sleeping better. Yeah, no, not following the diet too well. It's so busy and so stressed. But I'm taking all the supplements and sleeping better, less depressed. More energy definitely. Oh yeah, and I lost 18 pounds. I'm like, what? You lost 18 pounds in like 4 or 5 months without even trying. Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? So that's kind of when I started digging into it. And this is when you like when you think about serotonin, if it's a stress hormone or a stress neurotransmitter or chemical, if it's chronically elevated, what it does is to help you survive, it's shutting down your metabolism, it's slowing down your metabolism. And that's why he was eating the food, and instead of turning it into energy and burning it, he was storing it up, right? So when he started breaking down the serotonin, getting it out of his system, he just didn't even make many changes to the diet, but his body just started producing more energy. So he raised his metabolism just by lowering serotonin and raising dopamine, right? There's another thing in research, raising dopamine can actually reverse obesity in like rodents and mice and stuff, right? So point being here is we really have to not fear dopamine. We have to like raise our dopamine, do things that raise our dopamine. That's super important. And they're trying to make us do the opposite. They're like, oh yeah, I have to like do a dopamine detox because it's the exact opposite of what's good for us.
So I am like, let's see how many days I am. Hold on, guys. How many days
Start jerking it.
from adult films? I'm 47 days.
Wow.
That's
Never would have thought that was possible.
47 days.
I'm proud of you, Sam.
Thank you, guys. I am.
No, not.
I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, no.
We got to wean off it. I always say like, certain things can stay right now. Just get rid of the videos of
41
watching-
days off.
47
Is it-
days. I gotta get those 6
don't-
Is
days.
it public
Don't shortchange
information?
it, man.
Don't short. What's that?
Is it public information though?
47
What-
days
what-
from off pornography. Yes.
Okay.
But the reason I'm saying that is because I feel like when I watch people do it on film, there's a dopamine hit that because I've quit drugs, I quit alcohol. I'm really down to 2 things. which I was doing, which I've quit one. The other one's nicotine, but through these pouches. And please don't tell me that's bad for me. I wean off that as well down the line. But so I feel like that dopamine hit was making me addicted to watching people do it on the videos. And like,
That's such a funny way to put it.
you know, I mean, I just feel that I need to cut that out of my life, because afterwards I it's this emotional dump of like, ugh, what did I just watch?
Sam, I kind of feel like, because I used to listen to Tinfoil Hat like all the way back in like 2018, it's like I feel like I kind of know you. I feel like we've had a lot of similar challenges in our lives. So I was like always like a very addictive personality, and like always when I was drinking, I would drink until like there's no alcohol
I would
left
drink
type
to
thing,
win. In recovery, I was
drink
trying
to win.
set a,
I have to be the one that drank the most type thing. And when I used to smoke weed, like I would literally like smoke like 14, 15 spliffs in a day, and like that's the kind of way I was. Later on, I started doing some.
He's like that as well. We can
No,
tell
that's
right
a
now.
lot. That's a lot.
Yeah,
bro.
but at least he can own it.
He looks Asian right now.
But check this out, Sam. So later on, I did some like genetic tests and stuff, man, and some sort of like lights started to go off for me. So I have this. So there's this gene called COMT, which basically just helps us to like break down certain things, including dopamine. So my variant of that gene is the sort of the normal quote unquote variant, which is normal working enzyme. Which my understanding is that folks with that kind of variant, they would tend to plow through their dopamine faster than your average cat.
Yeah.
And then folks that have like a slow, for example, my wife has has one half. She's like heterozygous for that SNP, single nucleotide polymorphism. So people like that tend to more ruminate. So they kind of get stuck on a thought, and they kind of can't get over a thought. So they'll be like more ruminators type thing,
It sounds like most women holding something against you for years. You remember that time? You're like, wow, I apologize.
How do you remember all that? Yeah. So, but that's when I kind of started doing like more things to boost my dopamine. Like I taking the precursor L-tyrosine. I started taking that like every morning, and more like things like that stimulate those pathways, like B vitamins and copper and things like that. And honestly, man, it feels like that was just a biochemical vulnerability that just expresses itself as like addictive things. But if we can kind of find it and patch it up a little bit with nutrients and supplements and stuff like that, I think a lot of these things we can kind of get away with, even though we might be vulnerable to them.
I always tell people sex addiction is, and people think I'm crazy, but sex addiction is 10 times harder than any other addiction. Because I can not go where they drink, I cannot go where there's drugs, but wherever I am, sex addiction's there. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like I can go somewhere and let's say it's a sober event and but there's a hot chick there. Now all of a sudden I'm like, oh, hot chick.
Do you think after like maybe a year of not watching porn, if you ever wanted to come back, you think you just go to some regular porn site and get off on just a regular pizza guy?
like a heroin addict going back to like just the start.
Yeah, or
like,
do you think you jump right back into
just regular guy,
well, they
girl,
say with
missionary?
addiction, when you relapse, you go right to where you were before. Like you can
that's
be
not
off
true
for
with
years.
heroin. That's how people die on heroin, is going right back to where they were.
Well, I mean, that kind of confirms what I'm saying. They're banging the same amount. They don't do
but
tiny
they don't have the
bits.
tolerance to it, and they die. That's what I'm
Right,
saying.
but I'm not saying the tolerance to it. I'm saying you pick up the addiction where you were before.
Yeah, I got you.
And it goes instantly to that. So there's a lot more. There's like the morality of it all. Like my theory is that adult films are like humiliation rituals.
I think it may be more about that even than the dopamine thing. Like just
the dopamine hit is like
Bro,
you're like,
Sam, can I ask you, have you ever, I'm not joking when I ask this, have you ever like worked with like some kind of practitioner? Like maybe I have one buddy, he's like a psychotherapist, and he does cognitive behavioral therapy, Jihan Sator. I think he told me he's been on Tinfoil Hat ages and ages. But like I was working with him this year, and I had him work with my wife as well, and I've been recommending him to some clients because he does this like it's a hypnosis, but like you're totally like you can just if postman comes, get up and collect the post, but he helps you really just pinpoint um things back in time, memories where basically the energy gets stuck. Like it could be like for me, like let's say traumatic event, like I tried to cross the street, car brakes screeched, oh my, like my uncle, my mother, everybody was screaming at me, and that we kind of through the session you kind of remember that memory. And then
Yes.
he does this like really cool thing. It's like a neuro linguistic programming thing where you take the memory, you pause it, you fold it up, crinkle it up like paper, and you put it in like an imaginary fire. Do that 2 3 times, and just dissolves the memory and unblocks some of these things. Point is, have you ever like considered working with like a person like that? Because it could be like something that not I'm not saying like a psychotherapist, but like more of these like cognitive, hypno guys where they can actually help you like get in your mind, get those memories. Maybe it could be trauma, it could be stress. Just kind of work it through and dissolve it. You know what I mean?
Uh so if you want to get into the sex addiction stuff, yeah, for sure. I mean, I can go back to being introduced to sex at a very early age. That's why I'm really passionate when I'm like, we need to not be like the dark history of sex education. People really understood it and they were a moral person, they would be disgusted. They would be upset with it where it came from. The introduction to trans, reading the kids as kindergartners when they're, I say it all the time, we're trying to learn ABCs, 1, 2, 3s. Like what my kid is, she just started kindergarten, both of them. And what they're teaching them is the most basic of things. And then you introduce a drag queen reading a book, and that's advanced algebra. Like even your adults, fathers, mothers, grandparents would look and go, what is going on here? This is complex. And that's all done to introduce you to adult themes before you're actually ready for it. So that is what happened to me. And then I get to high school and I had 2 girlfriends for about 2 weekends. So my relationship with females is just off. I just wasn't connecting with them. I go to college and the energy is just completely different. I mean, it is everywhere all the time, anytime I want it. And with great power comes great responsibility, right? So I don't know how to handle this. So I run juggernaut style, head first, right into it as quick as I can. And that messes me up too. So, and that has been the story of me. The introduction to pornography at a very early age, at like 5 years old. I talk about it. Like, I've been fighting sex addiction since I was 5 years old.
But and not to interrupt you, Sam, but now imagine if you were a kid with an iPad.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like my daughter found PS5, right? And when she started paying, hand to God, when she started playing PS5, the amount of time she played with her dolls went down significantly.
I love how you say she found it. Like,
Well, it was in the living room.
She was walking in the forest, and
I
there
should
was
have
a
said,
PlayStation there.
I should have said discovered.
Yeah,
Right?
okay. It's like Christopher Columbus.
Well, he didn't even discover anything.
No, I know that's the joke.
But the point is when she was introduced, Johnny, is that a fine word I can use?
Yes, I like that. There's some agency for you in that one.
Okay. Once she was introduced to PS5,
Once Santa brought it, that bastard.
it became a totally different thing. And now she's not playing with her dolls like her sister is because her sister doesn't care about PS5.
It's too good, man. It's Infinite Jest. It's that book by David Foster Wallace, genius. It's this form of entertainment we have now. That was about a VHS tape, but we have it now where it's too seductive for our primitive brains. It's just too enticing. It's all consuming.
Instagram, right? The amount of crotch that you're seeing right now, beeholes and vaginas, isn't natural to what we're doing. Like women used to hide everything. Now they're just putting it right in your face, and your caveman DNA just wants to consume all that because we're still wired like cavemen, and we're not supposed to be seeing this much crotch.
You know what's good for that, bro? Just take
Get rid
some
of Instagram.
SSRIs and you're not gonna want to bang at all.
Yeah, 100%.
Problem solved.
Problem solved. I'm gonna get SSRI and just be like numbed numbed.
You know, and
Yeah,
you
dude.
know what's funny that you say like older men aren't used to seeing that much crotch. Why is all my uncles on Facebook just looking at pussy all day long? I swear, like
No,
yeah,
because
that's what
it's
they're
not-
for.
because-
it's not, yeah,
It's not natural.
yeah, it's not.
I
They're
do
not-
a joke about the time that I hosted a bikini contest at the Key Club, and this chick showed her vagina to everybody on stage. And like I talked about what a big moment that was for every man in the room, because this was 99. You just didn't see that. So it was like this huge moment. And now I talk about how vagina is like the US dollar. They've printed too much of it. It's not worth anything anymore. It's just, oh, look, it's a vagina. And you'll still look because your nature says this is something special, but it doesn't have the effect
yeah,
that
you
it
don't go
used to
pick
have.
it up. You're
Yeah,
just like,
yeah, I saw 5 of those today. I don't care. I moved on. It doesn't mean anything. But it's just like, again, this in this weird way, feminism has taught women that like this low vibrational behavior is empowering, when in reality it's a humiliation ritual. Because then these girls can't find a high value man. Like I've said this about OnlyFans. Like OnlyFans has destroyed the dating pool, because you're taking like Viking chicks who should be dating like the most alpha of all alphas, right? Now these guys, these what they call high value men, don't want these girls because their bits are all over the internet. Nobody wants their mother to be the mother of the child to be someone whose bits are everywhere.
Oh, there's a whole generation of kids too who's gonna have like the OnlyFans mom. You know, imagine what that's like as a child.
Oh, it's devastating to them.
It
They
must be.
get teased at school. It just destroys them. And again, it is against our primal drive right now. I mean, like the marriage used to be you married a virgin, and that was the gift of marriage. You give up your bachelor life and your being single and your freedom of that, which is a different kind of freedom that comes with being married. It's actually healthy for you. But you would give that up for a virgin. Now it's like, oh, I'm going, these girls yelling 350 in their body count.
that's crazy.
What is that? Where are women doing that?
Well, you watch these like good looking black guys do street interviews, and for some reason, a good looking black guy unlocks white freaks. Like these white girls just feel like they could be the most honest they can. And they yell out the number, what's your body count? And they always yell 350. Always.
Who
And,
wants
like,
that info? I mean, like, I don't.
Well, that's what they don't understand. That's what they don't understand, because nobody sits them down and tells them that is degrading your value. But nobody wants to tell them because that's old school. That's patriarchy bullshit. You're like, no, that's primal. That's as primal as it gets, because it comes down to, is this kid mine or not? Wouldn't you lock it down in a girl who hasn't thrown her bits around? And they've done studies on it where, like, the more partners you've had, the less likely you can pair bond.
How mainstream do you think that is? That a lot of women? Because like most of the girls I know that from back home, at least, they're like settled down and they got, you know,
I'm sure
normal.
it's big city versus little city.
Yeah, I think so,
And
too,
I'm not
yeah.
even talking mid-major cities like, let's say, Charlotte. Like, I'm talking about New York City, LA, Chicago.
Where the liberal mind virus thing is kind of taking root, right?
Yeah. And it's just this vicious circle that brings us into these SSRIs. So these girls who are told by older feminists about all these things they should do, and they don't realize that the older feminists, after they tell them that, goes home, drinks box wine, and talks to their cats all day.
Yeah, college has a role in it too. When you say like brainwashing these women into, you know, feminine studies and all that shit, it's just.
And they just don't understand the danger of it. Then they get on SSRIs, and now we're into
By
an
the
even
way,
crazier place.
that's another thing. By the way, I don't know if you ever heard, but women, when they're on birth control,
Yep,
they are attracted to like a different type of guy.
100%.
But it's similar. Apparently, there was actually a study in there that it's about. Dude, I know it's weird, but they looked at a songbird. I think it was like starlings. So they basically, because apparently these birds, they eat bugs and stuff that are in sewage. So there's runoff. So there's like pharmaceuticals in there. So the researchers wanted to see if does that does the exposure, whatever amount that is, to those drugs, pharmaceuticals, affect the behavior of those animals. So they took these starlings, was it? I had the study here somewhere. So
I
they
believe so,
took them. Yeah. Wait, I have it here. Hold on. So, okay, yeah. So the study, the paper, it's at Elsevier. It's called "Environmentally
Xavier.
Relevant Exposure to an Antidepressant Alters Courtship Behaviors in a Songbird." So basically, the reason they did the studies, like I said, birds eat sewage contaminated prey containing antidepressants such as Prozac, fluoxetine. So they paired the males with the females, and then obviously they had the control group, not given any Prozac or fluoxetine, and then they paired them up with the females that had the Prozac. So apparently the male starlings sang less to the fluoxetine Prozac treated females than the control females, and interestingly, there was increased male aggression towards the Prozac treated females.
Damn.
Isn't that interesting? So the goes back to the thing we're talking about, like hierarchy. If your serotonin is high, you're gonna like want to dominate. But if your serotonin is low, it seems like so if you're in a lower hierarchy, sort of lower in the hierarchy, I should say, and your serotonin is high, it seems like, I don't know, is it like a pheromone getting sniffed out? But it seems like other humans will sort of sense that, and they will bully you. They will try to like dominate you, and that kind of creates like sub
Whoa.
hierarchies in the
Whoa.
the larger social. Dude, I think it's super plausible. Super plausible,
And
bro.
if you kind of study, like obviously YouTube, there's all these shows now where these women will go on, let's say whatever, or fresh and fit, and they're all OnlyFans models. And again, that's a humiliation ritual because they just get lit up. But you know what they get? Hundreds of thousands of dollars of subscribers from that. So they sit there, they take a verbal beating, they're told how stupid they are, and then they go home and their OnlyFans explodes. And the big thing that women are talking about on there is how body count should matter. And it's very funny because if you kind of look like mating as a business, right? I'm not saying the selling of sex, but the seller and the buyer, right? You're saying like when you're dating, you got a girlfriend right now, but let's say you were single, right? And you're out there in the dating pool. You are the seller of you. The woman that you're talking to is the buyer of you. They want to get in on XG Inc. right now. Like you got this gambling website thing that's just crushing right now. You got a lot of stuff going on, but you're the buyer of her as well. You're trying to buy her in the marketplace of dating. And what women are trying to tell everybody is that their body count shouldn't matter. It's ridiculous. That's sexist. You can't tell the buyer what they can like and what they can't like. And that's what Hollywood has learned, right? Hollywood's been telling you, oh, like watch Apple television. You're going to see a drop off in Apple TV very soon. You're going to see articles saying that their subscriptions are because they're so woke and they just keep shoving this stuff on us. Hollywood's been woke forever. Nobody wants it, but they keep selling it to it going, oh, you're going to watch what we want you to watch. You cannot tell the buyer owes you nothing. The seller needs the buyer. The buyer doesn't need the seller because the buyer can go and try to buy any other, in this analogy, can buy any other seller. You cannot tell. And that's the problem right now. Females are trying to tell males what they can and cannot like. And males are like, no, we don't want anything to do with this. Why am I going to settle down with something that's a used car at this point? Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, yeah.
It's a big problem in dating pool. Women are trying to tell men what they must like, and they're failing spectacularly. Spectacularly. Nobody's dating anymore. They're talking about how nightclubs are going broke because nobody's going to nightclubs because guys have basically pulled themselves out of the dating pool because they don't want. Now, I'm not saying that men are perfect in any way.
Then they're fucking. They're just not dating.
Well, 20% of the men are. They're all
Really?
the top 20% are getting 100% of the women. And the women are upset because the top 20 aren't going to settle down with any of the 100% because there's just so much market out there for them.
How much does this have to do with women? Oh, everybody being able to move around now. You know what I mean? It used to be like what you had to date was what was in your town, bro.
I used to go back home when I went to college. I'd go back home and you would just see the carousel. You'd see people you
Yeah,
would
yeah,
never
yeah.
think dating suddenly together. You're like, how did that happen? Well, they only have a limited pool to choose from.
Now chicks in Taiwan, bro, are changing their location to LA and just picking the hottest guys in LA to swipe right on, and then they're getting rental wifed or whatever over here. I mean, you can be anywhere in those apps that you want. Apparently it's just like loaded with Asian.
Did you have that when you were in high school? Like everybody banging each other in the class?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was.
Yeah.
I wasn't participating because nobody wanted to be with. I literally had somebody tell me she's a good friend of mine. We're great friends. She's like, in high school, she's like, if I didn't know you were funny, I'd think you were retarded. She literally told me that, and I was like devastated. I was like, oh my God. And then you go to college, it's suddenly funny is attractive, and then it's everywhere. But that's where we are. That's the problem right now, is that we've gotten away from, and just think about what feminism does, like told women to sleep around, and that's what guys want. How is that empowering you? You're giving the
you're
other
giving
side
it up.
exactly what they want. And so to wrap it back into here, so now we got serotonin levels high, and now you're depressed, so you're getting on SSRIs, and that's killing it, even making it harder to get pregnant. Wanting to, it's just absolutely, it's
And
absolutely diabolical.
by the way, there's I have had quite a few clients that have been on either SSRIs or birth control pills or both at the same time. Dude, that's like one times the other. It's not additive. It's like horrific, because apparently from one really awesome research I've kind of learned a lot of this stuff. Apparently um estrogen, which is what the birth control pills, largely they're giving a bunch of estrogen, can actually stimulate the increase of serotonin, but also serotonin can activate the aromatase enzyme, which makes estrogen. So one kind of lights the fire on the other, and that's exactly where they want to have these women right now. They want to basically chemically castrate them, because a lot of these women, they will not be very fertile. Like it could take years to actually become fertile after stopping. A lot of them, like I had one client, she thought she could just stop the contraceptives,
Yeah.
and then she get pregnant. But she did get pregnant, but she had 2 miscarriages. So it's not like they tell you, the doctor will tell you, oh no, you'll be fine, just stop it, get your period back next month, and then you're good to go. So they kind of, like, a lot of these girls, they're like in their teens when they're already shilling them the stuff, or their early 20s.
Hey,
And then the the estrogen will actually cause the increase of cortisol and serotonin, which can further like give you anxiety, depression, sleep problems. And then you go to the doctor, and then they're like, you know what you need an SSRI. This will like sort you right out. That's the mad sort of
and then they
business
get you on
have
that
going.
forever. That's it.
Yeah.
Forever patience is what the
Yep.
goal is.
Hey, Christian,
Yeah.
have you ever heard? I don't know how rare this case is, or if it's even a thing, but some guy that was on SSRI said that his dick went numb, like numb,
Yeah.
where he couldn't feel it, like he felt like the back of his
Like
hand.
that's like the reverse stranger, dude. You know how you sit on your hand and then you have a wank? That's the reverse stranger.
But
You're jerking
th-
somebody else
that's-
off. That's crazy.
That's exactly why some doctors will prescribe it for premature ejaculation, because like that's what it does. It numbs you, serotonin, because again, just think about like how they discovered this, how like this despicable this research must have been in MK Ultra. But like, if you think about, if you're about to die of some calamity, it kind of makes sense that the body is going to have mechanisms to numb your pain in the last final hours or minutes. So this is kind of interesting, sort of separate discussion. But if you look at serotonin, it comes from the amino acid tryptophan, and then if you look at DMT, right, that is also like they're basically related compounds. So one is
Ooh.
NN dimethyltryptamine, That's DMT, and serotonin is um, 5-hydroxytryptamine, right? So they're tryptamines, similar sort of pathways, kind of. But so it seems like at least there's not like actual research, at least that's publicly available. But if you think about if you're about to like suffer a lot, like you're dying of starvation, or you broke your leg in the jungle and you're dying, like you're dying of pain and stuff, like serotonin will probably rapidly rise to help you, like numb you, help you kind of get over that sort of pain, up to the point where it can help you dissociate from reality if needed. So if you know like if you ever, like, I'm sure you had people on the show where they were like, part of like some kind of program, and they were like tortured, and they developed these sort of skills to kind of
Yes.
see into other realms. Like,
Yeah.
I think that is like the body is able to do that and dissociate from reality. And if you're lucky, maybe you kind of go to the astral realm, or maybe you're actually going to go to a realm that is like objective reality. But I think a lot of what happens is we just create our own like little sort of realm where we just dissociate from our pain, and that helps us kind of get
Wow.
through life. But I guess because they're so similar, maybe DMT, we in a calamitous enough situation, maybe we can, I don't know if there's like enzymes that can transfer one to turn one into the other, but probably at the worst of it, if you're about to die, some of that either DMT is getting released maybe from the pineal gland, or maybe it's getting synthesized at kind of at the time of death, just to help you ease that transition into the next realm through the DMT experience. And maybe like serotonin is like just more like at this 4D level, it's one of those kind of chemicals that helps you again numb from the pain, dissociate somewhat from the pain, so that you can just survive and carry on. Gets a
So
bit sort of esoteric, but
I want to ask you another question real quick. I saw this article yesterday. I didn't read all of it. I just read the title because I was doom scrolling. And it said that people who take multivitamins are having shorter lifespans. And part of me goes, I think this is a psyop propaganda to get people to stop taking multivitamins because it's actually good for you. What are your thoughts on that? I know it might not be your expertise,
yeah.
but
Oh, dude,
a Photoshop,
dude,
a snapshot of
actually,
it.
I just this week, I've been in discussion with some like supplement manufacturers. I'm looking to find, a contract manufacturer to get some. My goal is to like get some really clean supplements maybe over the next year on the market, because the thing is, like vitamins are good if they're in the right forms. The problem is like if you go to like a website like iherb.com, they have literally like tens of thousands of products, and I'll tell you, I've spent literally thousands of hours scouring through that website, like literally, dude, thousands of hours researching ingredients, brands, and most of it, like 95% of it, is like garbage that I would never put in my body, right? There is the occasional, gem, diamond in the rough type thing, and that's kind of what we use. What myself, my wife, my clients, stuff like that. So I think the psyop is definitely they want to get people not taking vitamins to be scared, because like you hear the occasional thing, oh, but what's the chance of like this vitamin like being toxic, taking too much of it? You never like your doctor will never like say, if you ask what about is this SSRI, is this dose safe, like of course it's safe, we have safety trials. But if you talk about vitamin D, or certain fat soluble vitamins, they're going to tell you, oh, they're fat soluble, they can bioaccumulate. But actually, when you look at it, for example, vitamin K, they've never been able to like kill a lab rat with a high enough dose. Vitamin E, even though it's fat soluble, it can actually become water soluble if there's an excess of it. Vitamin A, like you have to eat like a horrific amount of liver that is impossible and improbable to actually get toxic levels. So with supplements with D and A, yeah, you can get toxic levels. But dude, like not this winter that passed, but the previous year, I took like 3 million international units of vitamin D. I was like
Oh.
slathering it on my body. I was like, it was in MCT oil, so very clean product, just MCT oil. So like, like multiple times a day. And dude, I didn't get a sniffle that whole winter, right? So I'm still alive. There is potential risks. That's why you never want to like go crazy. I was just experimenting on myself, so my clients don't have to and stuff. But dude, yeah, it's definitely like I've seen the smear campaigns about vitamins, but the caveat is most of the things. If you go to like a grocery store, never buy anything in a grocery store. Like if you go to like the regular brands that come up on iHerb, let's say, they have a few iHerb owns a few of those companies, but most of those, you start looking at the ingredients. You have silicon dioxide, a bunch of like other fillers and crap. Then um a lot of the time they're gonna give you like a suboptimal form of the vitamin or the mineral, right? So for example, magnesium, it could be magnesium oxide. That's a really crappy form of it. Calcium carbonate, which is just chalk. So that's they're good at marketing, they're good at packaging it, but then they're selling you really dirt cheap stuff that costs them cents, and then it costs you like $10, 15, $20, and it costs them literally cents to actually fill that bottle with that product. So you just have to be really smart and careful and not allow the marketing of the supplement sort of companies hoodwink you, because it's pretty, not that it's unregulated, it's pretty regulated when you kind of actually, if you want to do things right. But like, it's the marketing side of things is it's like cowboy land. Like they can say a bunch of stuff. They can be really convincing. Like a client will give me a product that they're taking $100 a month. I'm like reading this page, the marketing page. I'm like, dude, I want to buy this thing. This thing sounds awesome, but I never will because I can see through it. But I can feel myself getting FOMO. I'm not getting this amazing seaweed extract from the middle of the Pacific Ocean that's gonna restore my glycocalyx of my endothelial tissue. Dude,
Hmm.
what comes up with this stuff,
Who
Is,
comes?
is,
patented
the,
glycocalyx?
is the
Dude.
issue that it's harmful, or that it's typically not like in those forms bioavailable, or it's less bioavailable? Which are you saying?
So yeah, a lot of them are like not ideal in terms of like the actual form of like the mineral. There's like several different types of, like, let's say, zinc, magnesium, the vitamins. Let's say, so for example, some vitamins, you have B1, it's like thiamine, mononitrate, hydrochloride, benfotiamine, subotiamine. So there's a bunch of different ones. They have good and bad aspects to them, like in terms of price, quality, absorbability. So there's actually like a lot to know. And what I see is a lot of manufacturers, or a lot of even like like kind of influencers and stuff. What they do is they go to a manufacturer, they pick a stock formula, they just slap their own cool branding on it, and they don't actually put much thought into the product. So there's a lot of stuff that is really just pretty crappy, but because of the marketing, the influencer pushing it, they can command a high price when you're actually not really getting all that much like usable nutrition. But the other thing is, to the more purist people that say all these things are synthetic, that's like toxic. The thing is, when you take let's say an herb, and it has like hundreds of different chemicals and sort of compounds and phytochemicals, as they call them, you're taking chemicals that were synthesized by a plant, and some of those exact same chemicals with the exact same formula can be synthesized in a lab. Now obviously there's some nefarious ways they can do it, some kind of less savory, cleaner and dirtier ways to do it. But at the end of the day, that thing, if it's the exact identical molecule to something found in a plant, will have the same effect,
Hmm.
largely.
But
Obviously,
can
the
I just give some
caveats.
context too? You said you had like 1,000,000 IU of vitamin D over a winter. The
Yeah.
Institute of Medicine, or the National Academy of Medicine, recommends 600 IU a day. So he had a
You went
million
hard,
over a
okay.
winter.
A little
All right,
over.
I'm
I think
gonna.
it's 400, but there was
400 for
a paper
infants, it
where
says right here.
there was one paper that based, I think it was from Sweden or one of those Scandinavian countries, where they said that due to some statistical sort of anomaly in the research, they could have like maybe underestimated that by like a tenfold, right? So
Wow.
when you kind of dig into it, I think uh yeah, I don't like anything by the institute of this, that,
Yeah.
the NIH, anything they recommend. Kind of like when you think about it this way, like the RDAs for a lot of these nutrients, let's say copper, it's like 0.6 or 0.9 milligrams a day. Zinc for a guy's like, I think they revised it down from 15 to maybe 13. Dude, like th- those RDAs, who in their right mind thinks that they're designed for a human being that's optimally healthy. Like a bunch of these, like for example, when I was writing my last book, I looked at how they came up with the RDA for vitamin E. Apparently, it was the amount required to prevent like people with like hemolytic anemia from like having like horrific health complications. They decided that's the right amount, right? So that's not
It's crazy.
exactly, designed for optimal health. So anyway, when you look at the RDAs, when somebody tracks their diet in an app like Chronometer for a week, and they see how woefully short they come up for most of their RDAs, which are designed to keep a factory worker from keeling over on the factory floor,
That's
right?
crazy.
To keep the slaves operating the
Oh my
machinery
God.
without dying and falling off
The
on the side of
minimum.
the street
You're
and
saying the bare
collapsing.
minimum, right? Like the bare minimum.
Yeah, dude, we are not. Yeah, yeah. Like most of us, even myself included, like, because I have, on occasion, I will track my diet once in a while, and I'll see like even I can't meet my RDAs, and my RDAs are like remember this is the government tells me what I need as a bare minimum. The government, clearly, the government probably wants me to eat the bare minimum without dying, so I can keep paying for stuff. But so point is, I don't personally. I know there's a lot of like purists out there, and some of them are like my buddies or kind of know them and stuff. They have their own views, and I completely respect a lot of those folks. Um, but my personal opinion is in this day and age, if you don't supplement the diet intelligently, you are screwed with a capital F. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. Last two
Yeah.
questions, man. One, have they ever isolated a virus?
No, I don't think they have, dude. I don't think they have.
I've been
And
telling these motherfuckers.
but let me ask you, why are kids being vaccinated for bacterial things now? Did you see this? Like
Yeah, I
some of
mean,
those vaccines are for bacterial
yeah,
things.
I mean, I have a cousin who's pregnant, and everyone's telling her not to take these shots, and she doesn't know what to do. I'm gonna call her up and be like, "Listen, you're my blood, your mother, your cousins, you're our blood. You know you know what doctor's gonna deliver your baby. You don't even know their fucking names. I don't make $1 off of what's gonna happen right now. Don't vaccinate these kids. I'm just telling you, and I'm losing that battle in my own personal life. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Sometimes a man is not the king of his castle.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I know.
Well, but kids have always gotten like tetanus shots. That's bacterial, right? So,
Apparently, yeah, dude. Quick, sorry, I probably shouldn't be sharing this, but a few weeks ago, my wife, terrible time for my wife to be away, but she was away, and I was out with my kid, and we have a dog, so she's like very like comfortable with dogs and stuff. But one of my neighbor's dogs, she was like getting crazy in her face and like pulling her face, so the dog just got scared, just kind of nipped her, like just bit her a little bit, just on the lip,
Yeah.
caught her on the lip, dude. But
Rabies.
like, it just, dude, there was blood everywhere. Like, my wife came back a few days later. There was like blood on the stair. I thought I cleaned all the blood off the stairs and like the outside, the entree, whatever. My wife's like, what is this? Is this dry blood? I'm like, everything is fine. You know what I mean? But so I kind of was disinfecting her lip, brought her home, disinfecting the lip and stuff. And dude, those moments, like, if you don't like, if you're not convinced in your position, you're like second guessing yourself like crazy. Like, what if, like, dude, what if it gets infected? Like, you know, what if I'm like a horrible parent if because I don't like take her to the emergency room and get a tetanus shot? What if all like so they know that these are the doubts, especially when you're pregnant and all the hormones are like up in the air, especially when you're pregnant or postpartum, which is even more sort of stressful because now you got a little kid you got to keep alive. At least the body was keeping it alive before. Now you were responsible. So they're so good at like guilting the crap out of you.
Yeah.
I remember when my wife was pregnant, they do the smear test where they basically like swab your vagina and your anus, like they just like, and they like was it streptococcus or one of those bacteria, and they don't look at quantitatively like how much they found, or is it from the anus or the vagina? They just look, is it a positive yes no, like a COVID test, whatever. So she was positive, and she told me and we were planning a home birth, and we did a home birth, and everything, thank God, went well. But she told me, in case, because you have to have a plan in case you want to go to the hospital. She said, okay, if we have to go to the hospital, can you please like doctor the thing to say that the test was negative, so we don't have to have the conversation of refusing that, the IV antibiotics that they kind of have you do when you,
Yeah.
test positive for that. Like I told her, like, listen, don't worry. If it ever happens, I'm gonna be like strongly refusing interventions, as much as within reason that we don't need. But like that's kind of the level of fear that they put into women, and we were like super away from the
Yeah.
whole system. Imagine if
Yeah.
you're in California and you're dealing with that, the medical system and those brainwashed doctors, and how good they are at like throwing their weight and their medical degree at you, and their sort of their status and their god complex. And of course I understand why so many women and parents. I remember another friend of mine, they were like, they had a 14-hour labor, they were exhausted with his wife, and then in the end they convinced him to do the vitamin K shot, and like he was like like years later he told me about this, he's like feeling this immense guilt that he didn't have the strength to refuse that. But I told him, like, man, dude, 14 hours overnight, awake, stress, like they wore you down. They wore you down because they're like changing shifts, dude. They're tag teaming you, like,
It's
tag
cheap.
one guy, like,
It
it's
costs more.
pretty
It
messed up.
costs more, and it's faster to get a C-section. She don't have to sit
And a
there
lot
for,
more
yeah,
money.
she
A
don't
lot
have to
more
sit
money,
there for
exactly.
14 hours, 20 hours when she can just get a C-section. Quick in and
And
out.
a lot more cash, man.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot more cash on their
A lot more
side. So
cash.
why not? Why not scare them and then tell them that they need an
Yeah.
epidural?
And
It's so
Everything's
painful.
about
then
money.
and then they tell you, if you've done one, you have to continue doing them. But I've had clients that have did it the first time, the C-section, and then they actually had a natural home birth or hospital birth with after a C-section, but vaginally.
It's
So that's
crazy
another lie, dude.
how
Another
much
lie.
they trust these doctors. It's just crazy to me. Final question: nicotine, good or bad?
I think it's on the spectrum of good. Yeah.
Yes.
How
Yeah.
far
Johnny,
down?
That's it.
Shut
That's
up.
it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Let's just
Euro
say
Johnny,
I had to stop.
Euro
I had
trash
to
Johnny, shut up.
let's just say I had to stop ordering. The rape
No.
from South America. That's like the wild tobacco that they kind of make a snuff out of that
Oh
with like
yeah.
some
I've heard
herbs.
about that.
Dude, like at one point I had to like stop buying it from this company in Amsterdam. They get these great ones where the shaman and the village they're from and how they make it. Like they buy it and they support them there and they help them
Nice.
like plant vines and stuff, ayahuasca and whatever. So I'll be buying it every month, like several packs, and it was awesome. But I had to stop because that's that addictive personality. So
Yes.
if you can like keep it like
Moderate. That's what I'm
2 or
doing
3
with my
times a day.
nicotine.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
name of your game is moderation. Everybody's known you for your moderation throughout your life. So-
Well, Johnny, I'm working on
and
it.
I-
Progress, not perfection, you asshole.
And I got to give it to him. He's at 3. He stays at 3.
Three
Yeah.
milligrams?
Yeah, I
No,
thought
I'm
he-
at 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, no,
he
he's
upped
not.
it.
I'm
It
at
was 3.
6.
Okay,
I'm
now-
at 6.
How many
at 6.
milligrams per hit though?
I don't know.
Six.
6. 6.
That's
It's 6
fine.
per pouch.
Thank
36
you.
milligrams a day.
Tell Dana
mean,
that.
I mean, I know nicotine gum comes at like 1, 2, and 4 milligrams. So to quit smoking, you probably you need, I don't know, 10 of those. I guess, yeah.
I
Do you,
just,
man? You
my
can't be off
moderation now
everything.
is much
Yeah.
slower, a lot less at night. So I don't go to bed hyped up on nicotine.
Oh, does it
That's
make
it.
it hard to sleep?
No, it's just like I wake up the next morning, I can feel it. So I just want to
Like a hangover, or you just didn't sleep well?
I just like I can feel it in my throat. If I
okay.
overdo it,
Gotcha.
I can tell. Like it's just banging them. But anyways, Christian, this has been an all-time banger, dude. This has been one of the best episodes we've ever done.
good.
Thank you so much. One more
Thank
time,
you.
please tell us please tell the listeners where they can find you.
Oh, thanks so much, guys. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, so livelongerformula.com. There's a free masterclass, 7 deadly health fads. Learn why low carb diets and fasting and fish oil are bad for you. Boosting nitric oxide is bad for you, and a few other things. That's free. And then if you need help with your health, you'll be able to
I gotta
get in
do
touch
it,
with
dude.
me
I
and
gotta
book a
hit
call
you
if
up.
you need it.
I gotta hit you up, dude.
Come on, you got to get that 180. You gotta hit
I
that
gotta get the
180.
185. Just
Dude,
don't take away 5
Sam,
pounds from me.
Sam, I was saying to Dana, few months ago, if you want, I can send you the urine test to your to your home. All you have to do, dude, morning urine. Just get that, fill the cup, have her like put it in the freezer, freeze it, whatever, and then all you gotta do is get UPS to pick it up, and then I will get the data,
Yeah.
and then I'll create your
come back,
protocol.
you're
I think
fucked.
you will definitely. We did it for Charlie Robinson, of macroaggressions. We did like a live
That's it.
analysis of his
Does it
lab
do-
work. It was
does
really
it do-
fun. It's on my podcast.
Does it do testosterone?
It's urinary organic acids, toxic metals, no hormones. I honestly think urinary hormones kind of like a waste of money. These tests are like $500-700 waste of money. This is actually finding imbalances in the body years or decades before they become a problem. Truly, like deficiencies of minerals, vitamins, oxidative stress, DNA damage, some of the neurotransmitters. There's some gut markers. There's like 160 markers from like, dude. You just take a whiz in the morning, freeze it, and then the guy picks it up. It is like couldn't be easier. So, Sam,
Get to it.
All right, we'll do it, Christian.
and on my dime, bro. I didn't mean like you have to pay for it. I'm gonna get it
it's
for
fine.
you as well.
It's fine. I'll pay for it.
Yeah.
Buddy, we love you. We appreciate great episode. Let's break it down. All right, what'd you guys think?
Good one.
XG, what'd you think?
It was a great one.
It was a great
It was
one
a great
for
one.
sure.
He had me thinking. I'm wondering if my mom or my aunts would have been on SSRIs back in the day. If you get what I mean. Now that
No,
it's
they're
so-
from Mexico.
Are you don't think in Mexico they're giving out SSRIs?
Are they?
I think.
I
I mean,
don't
I
know.
think it's worldwide.
It's a good question.
You should have asked that. That's another.
Why
great
don't you ask your
question.
ninos and ninas? Why don't you ask them if
Wait,
they're
that's
on?
not. That's like.
That's little ones.
Yeah, that's the little ones.
Tios y tias.
Yeah, that whoever they
Same
are.
thing, right?
Dude, it is all a giant mind f. That's
Oh,
all this
dude.
stuff is.
How do you know what to do? I guess just listen to Christian Yordanov.
I think the key is to get off everything synthetic. I think it's to get off everything God.
As you have the nicotine hiccups.
Yeah.
Is that a new thing? Did he create the nicotine hiccups?
Well, apparently it's a known side effect.
Oh,
Because
it's a
people in the
thing?
comments
Oh.
were like, "Yeah, that's a thing." Yeah. But I didn't never heard it until he started squeak. We call it the squeaks on Broken Sam is what we call it.
I'm the face of nicotine hiccups and heavy legs.
The Nick squeaks we call it.
Hey guys, by the way, just so you know, dedicate to losing weight, I decided not to drink a soda for lunch.
Nice.
Congratulations,
What'd you
Sam.
drink? Just nothing? Water?
Nothing.
Just nothing.
Just nothing.
Just ate.
It's soda, it's
Just
soda or
dehydrated.
nothing?
I just love. I mean, that will probably be the hardest vice to give up.
Really?
I love Coke.
There's so many good alternatives now that would like natural.
I love the
Sweeteners.
taste of Coke.
Yeah, I like Diet Coke.
You tried that the poppies? You know, the little
Opiates?
no.
Have we been banging fentanyl?
No, there's these like carbonated like little soda wannabe poppy things, and they're all over. All the females have them. They're supposed to be healthier soda
Well,
pop.
anything I see all the females having, I'm immediately skeptical of. Like, what have they?
Yeah, we'll wait till we find out what's wrong with White Claw.
Yeah. Dude, it's everywhere, isn't it? It's crazy. I come home the other day, my refrigerator is just half full with White Claw. I was like, what the fuck? is
What are
happening?
we doing
Like,
here?
I was like, I had some people over.
We should ask Christian about White Claw. What's in it? It's probably like
Yeah.
estrogen and SSRIs,
Killing
and
birds.
cocaine.
The birds are gay now.
Guys who drink it just go power bottom.
It reminded me of that story you used to bring up about the guy who was sued the pharma company because he took a Parkinson's medication that made him have a crippling gambling addiction. He gambled his entire life savings, and then he could not stop blowing dudes suddenly. He's a straight guy.
Yeah, or that's the guy that knocked his head in England and he woke up gay and he's like, I'm just a cock zombie now.
Similar.
Didn't he win that lawsuit?
I don't know about that. I looked it up the other day, and I couldn't find any information about the result.
There are medications that say side effect is gambling. And
yeah.
I think I know, I'm not going to say their name, but I think that happened to somebody where they start just gambling a lot.
Anything messes with your brain. Dude, my grandma had like a brain bleed for a bit. She's fine now, and it made her disinhibited. So
I don't even
like,
know what that means.
Like lowered your inhibitions. So when she's going out in public, just hitting on like every guy.
Oh, really? Your grandma was
Cursing.
slinging it?
No, she's always been like outgoing, I'll say.
Dude, you're coming home, there's
But-
just dudes hanging out in the living room. You're like, Grandma!
I mean, it wasn't far off. Like it was a thing for a while.
Driving Miss
Like in her
Woodard? Is that what's going to be
no,
next?
No, it's not her surname, but
Okay.
in her late 70s, like, and she's very youthful. But
And it was known like in the medication, like it was.
no, it wasn't a brain. She had a brain bleed, like a you know.
Oh, and it just triggered it to be.
What do they call it?
Oh wow.
So hold on, the brain bleed caused it,
Yeah,
or the
because of the
medication?
area. It was like a stroke, basically, like but a
oh,
weird.
but
kind
it
of
hit the area where she's
It-
just like,
in that part. Of the
I
brain.
don't care, tits, sun's out, tits out.
Yeah, well, and like cursing, and she's always cursed a little for an older person.
Why do I
like-
feel a couple M-bombs came out, a couple of them?
No, she's not like that. No, but
Okay. It's
no,
the South,
that's the other half of my family.
Okay.
Truly, no, she was. Yeah, it was strange, man. It was strange.
Yeah, dude, that's
you
got to
know,
be
the other
weird
th-
when you see your grandma just hitting on dudes.
It was
That's
odd.
got to be traumatizing.
It's not comfortable. And
Grandma, that's my friend, and he needs it.
she'd always dated young too. Like she married a guy when she was in her 60s, who was maybe 40, like 20 years younger than her, and moved to England with him and lived there for decades. And yeah, so she's like her on a 10 is not far from you probably. I mean, like
Just getting
like,
crazy.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Yay.
Even in her 70s.
Grandma.
Bro. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, wild.
Gilfs.
You think
Love
Sam,
gilfs.
You think Sam would have had a chance? She would have hit on something.
How much would that affect the show if I was just banging
my God.
Johnny's grandma? Johnny, what? We could still work together.
Oh dear. Oh dear. He mentioned psychological research, and I was thinking about. I remember, because we're both psych majors, both of us, right?
Yeah.
Represent.
What a giant waste that was.
Oh, huge waste of time. But I remember reading about all the research they did and just how inhumane it was. Like all the experiments, the early, like psychology is built on just human suffering. All the Scientologists are partly right about that. The early psych experiments where we learned a lot of what we know, quote unquote, about psychology was just cruel shit where they tortured people.
Yeah, they literally used human beings as guinea pigs in the worst experiments possible.
For a whole century. Yeah.
And then everyone's like, just trust the science. You're like, it comes from torture, right? Yeah. Animals, humans. Like, it's just gross, dude. Like, we did something on doom scrolling where they wanted these people at the University of, I don't know, I want to say Iowa,
Sure.
allegedly.
Yeah. Whatever.
We got to say it.
Idaho.
Whatever.
Iowa,
I think it's Iowa, though.
some damn place.
But they took orphans, dude. And half the orphans had stuttering problems. The other ones didn't. And they wanted to see if they can convince the non-stutterers to start stuttering. Stuttering. Like I did right there. Right?
Funny.
Is that crazy? That's how dark it got.
I started stuttering on purpose because I watched.
You get chicks?
No, I watched Letterman religiously, and that was kind of part of his like, oh yeah, but that thing, and so I started doing that on purpose, and it became like a speech impediment for me as a kid.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
that's how much I loved Letterman. He gave me a stammer for a while.
When Eastbound and Down came out, I just couldn't stop talking like him.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Dana's like, please stop trying to act like you're in Eastbound and Down.
Let me hear your Kenny Powers.
I can't do it
no,
anymore.
okay. Wait, just a southern accent, like.
Just like shit talking Southern accent. dude.
Oh, he's so funny, man. Danny.
That's my favorite. The first season is my favorite season
Don't know if I've laughed harder.
of any sitcom ever.
It's very
That was a
fun.
good one, yeah.
Another thing I want to say too. I remember I was 14, 7th grade. I was dating a girl in maybe 8th or 9th grade, and she was 15 probably.
How old are you?
14. And
Johnny.
well, no,
nice.
But
I
here's
like
the
that.
okay. So I saw this round case of pills, and I was like, "What is this?" And her mom happened to be in the room, and they both got it was birth control, obviously, and I didn't know what it was.
At 15.
Well, yeah, and what it was is they gave it to her because she was having really bad periods, and they gave it to her at 15.
so she'd stop having periods.
well, so they would be milder. It wasn't enough to stop her period, but at 15.
Yeah.
I pray to
Same
God
chick,
I don't have to go
I was
through
dating
that.
some chick. Same thing. Her mom gave her birth control, not to like. In my head, I'm like, oh man, we're gonna bone sooner than later.
this
Yeah,
girl's
I was like, it's
ready.
in her head already. It was for her acne. She had bad acne, and supposedly when you start getting your period, it gives you really bad acne. But
when
you're
I
giving a
first
girl
moved to
15
LA,
yeah.
I get giant like welts of acne on my neck.
Oh, I remember you having a couple
Giant
of those, yeah.
welts. And then for some reason, it just stopped. And I was like so blessed. I also stopped drinking.
Crazy.
Like I would get giant Starbucks with all the syrup in it. And I think that was causing me to have like weird
That's just gross.
breakouts.
Because you got to think about it. When you have a kid and your kid has that bad acne, you'll do anything to make it go away because your kid. I mean,
I
your
use
kid
that.
is
What is that called? That
self-conscious.
stuff you put.
Clearasil?
No, what's
No.
the new one? Proactive.
Proactive.
Oh, yeah. Well, dude, when I was in middle school, at my school, the cool kids in middle school, not in high school, but in middle school, the cool kids did band because the poor kids had to do chorus because they couldn't afford instruments.
Yeah.
So it was this weird thing where everybody wanted to do band.
So the white kids went to band and the black kids went to chorus.
You got it.
Mexicans,
Yeah. And we didn't have a lot of Mexicans. Not back then. Now we do.
Now
And
they're everywhere. They're like rabbits.
I just got
hump
the
it.
worst. I got the worst acne, and it ruined like a solid year of my middle school, dude. And what I figured out was the mouthpieces on trombones are made out of nickel, and I'm allergic to nickel, and it was giving me terrible
wow.
acne. And so I switched to plastic. I'm glow up, immediate glow up, dude. And like,
And that's when
hey,
you start pounding your teachers.
You got it, bro. You got it.
Dude,
Get it going, dude.
Johnny would have been one of those kids that get caught now with the teachers.
Hey,
Yeah.
we had. I sent you guys, you and Howie. Like every year I was in school, we had at least one get busted, a teacher for, and a couple of them got married the students later.
There's
Yeah,
some-
they had to so they didn't go to jail.
No, they're still together, bro. No, this wasn't. This was after.
Imagine.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to say that because I'm sure there's people who listen, but it'd be interesting to marry the person from high school and that's it.
I mean,
Like,
dude,
your,
I
like,
watched.
like your high school sweetheart.
Yeah, but
That'd be weird.
it's just interesting to me because I have friends of mine who I know have been in long relationships and they're like, am I missing out? As a guy that did that to the max, you're not missing out. In the time it seems like it's the greatest thing ever. I've been saying this on every show I can. It is easier than ever to get laid. It's harder than ever to get out of it.
Right, but aren't you the one who's talking to everybody about settling down and how that's a fulfilling life? For
Yeah,
women
that's
and
what
stuff?
I'm saying.
Oh,
It
you
is.
are okay. I thought you were saying you
Because I had that reaction go, God, can you imagine marrying your high school sweetheart?
Oh,
Then
oh,
I
I got
kind
you,
of
yeah.
thought, you know, like if you look at all my friends who got canceled, right? They were the guys that were going around and just banging everything.
Gotcha.
Then the guys who didn't get canceled because they weren't chasing skirts and putting themselves in bad situations.
It makes me think of Woody Allen just did Bill Maher's podcast. And he talks about he's been with Sun Yi for 35 years now, dude. And he says they still have every meal together. There's not a moment. They're like John and Yoko. Like they're just inseparable throughout the day.
Yeah, he's an interesting one because we've done that show. Johnny thinks he got framed based on the show that we did.
So do you.
I think he got framed. And it's hard because you want to be like, you know, because you have Candace Owens defending, you know,
Harvey.
Harvey Weinstein. And you just talk to a lot of people. They're like, I knew him. He was fucking a scumbag.
Weinstein. Yeah.
Weinstein, right? But then you get it because there's always that picture of adult Woody Allen with that tiny Asian chick, and everyone thinks that's the same, same, and it's not.
It's his daughter with Sun Yi. Yeah.
That's his actual daughter,
His actual daughter. Yeah.
and they just want to run with it because he looks like a fucking perv.
And you have his own children who were in the house at the time. He never lived as a father with Sun Yi. Never lived with her. Barely had met her until she was basically grown.
Hey,
but-
real quick, go on.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, but the kids that he did have all came out. Like Moses Farrow came out and said that their mother was abusive, and she was the one that was crazy.
I mean, it's getting crazier and crazier. Go to samtripoli.com, grab the go to events.